Hi Sagittarius, Happy New Year. Welcome to your reading for January 2019. My name is Melanie and this is a general reading for any star sign, moon sign and rising sign Sagittarians out there. I'm using two different decks today, the Tattoo Tarot deck and another deck which I use more as oracle cards called the Dreamtime Reading Cards, and I'm going to pull a card from that deck towards the end of the reading and go through that at that time. Just want to remind you to take what you like and leave the rest from this reading. It may or may not resonate with you. That's totally fine. I hope it is of use to you though. So let's just dive straight in. So we have 5 cards for Sagittarians for January 2009. First card represents the past, your past energy, and for that you have the World card. Second card there is about the present situation, current issues. You guys got the Queen of Cups. The third card representing possible obstacles this month, and that is the Star card. The Ten of Swords card there is possible helpful tools this month. And the 5th card being the outcome card for the month of January for Sagittarians, and you guys got the 7 of Coins, otherwise known as the 7 of Pentacles. So I'm just going to go through them one by one and see if we can pull it all together and make some meaning of these cards before choosing an oracle card for you at the end. So the sense I got from these cards altogether was that you are maybe needing to let go of something painful that has ended, and there's a bit of a process going on this month. So the first card representing a past or past energy, and that may be recent past, it may be distant past. You guys have the World card, which is quite a significant card. It's the last card of the major arcana, the last card, the end of a journey, we would say. So what has been written in the past has now come to be, has now come to transpire. So the World card represents the cyclical nature of life. It's a card about rejoicing, reveling in success, the end of the journey, the summation of a journey which was begun by the Fool card. This is a card about closure, completion, victory, accomplishment, integration, conclusion of something. Can be a card about travel as well. It's a card about power gained through wisdom and intelligence, luck being on your side. It's a reminder card really that all things are possible and there are endless forces at work. So in that sense, you're at the end of a part of your life, or a journey, a significant journey has ended. You're at and ended well. You know, something in the past did sort of wrap up, which left you feeling prosperous with a sense of sort of victory, perfection almost in the end of this cycle, this circle, this journey that you've been on. So that means that a new beginning, you know, with the ending of something, a new beginning emerged as well from whatever journey or process that you were on that ended. So that was in the past. Where you are now is the Queen of Cups. So the Queen of Cups, this can be an actual person, can be a woman who's a water sign, so Cancer, Scorpio or Pisces sign, a woman with blonde or fair hair, a very gentle and affectionate and emotional woman, or this can be about you. So the Queen of Cups, she represents being quite in touch with your feelings, emotional security, intuition, compassion, feeling really deeply, being calm, being in control of one's emotions, that kind of feminine energy of nurturing and taking care of other people around you. It's quite a mature, honest energy, one of devotion, of motherliness, you know, being a good kind wife, mother, friend, you know, happiness, service, success, pleasure. This can also be, like I said at the beginning, an actual woman, an older woman, someone that you can trust and that you can turn to, who shows lots of beautiful, tender love. It's a card about balancing emotion and intuition. It can also be a card, though, about being a little bit too prone to romantic kind of delusions and possible mood swings, being a little bit too in the emotions, being a bit impractical and not kind of looking broadly enough at the big picture, just being kind of swayed heavily in the emotions. But overall, I think this is a really lovely, beautiful card and a beautiful place to be in right now in January. A really soft, gentle energy with a fair degree of nurturing going on. So maybe you are nurturing other people, somebody is nurturing you right now. And there's sort of these gifts of real feminine energy going on somewhere in your life right now, helping you feel good, helping you feel pleasure, helping you feel loved, and showing you aspects of your life which are really full and rich in that way. So I really hope that's where you guys are at right now in the month of January. Quite a lovely, soft, warm. When I think of the Queen of Cups, I think of sort of this woman who kind of wraps you in her arms and sort of holds you close to her bosom, and kind of it gives you that real lovely, nurturing, tender affection from a place of sort of deep wisdom and experience. The third card that came up for you guys in the month of January, so represents the obstacles that may come up for you, and for you guys that card is the Star. So look, typically this star means hope, it means promise, it means faith, the light at the end of the tunnel, good prospects, being guided by the stars, sort of a new dawn coming. It means being replenished, joy, kindness, inspiration, really lovely things. But this card in this reading for you guys is in the obstacle position. So what does that mean? You can see on the card that there's a card called the Star, and there's a lot of stars there. So are you being a little bit too blinded by the stars? Is there something that is kind of blocking your view almost, and you're in a bit of a wishful thinking kind of state, a little bit too much in the feelings, or a little bit too much with your head in the clouds, focusing too much on the future, this kind of bright shining star up above, which pulls you away from now and what's happening in the present moment. Are you possibly being a little bit overly optimistic, a bit naive, too starry-eyed, Are you not sort of balancing up, looking at the pros and the cons, the negatives and the positives, the disadvantages and the advantages? Are you only focused on what you so want and hope to be good stuff? And of course you do, everyone wants that, but at the same time it's healthy and important to keep one foot on the ground as well as one foot in the water of the emotions. So perhaps being mindful of that and making sure that you're tuned into what could go wrong as well as what could go right, and just being a little bit realistic, just coming back down to earth. I know you're standing there maybe looking up at these beautiful stars, but you also need to look down at where you're walking and to look ahead, and just to be mindful of where you're going. If your head is always looking upwards, you might smack into a tree or a lamppost or another person. You might fall down a hole, so just watch yourself, watch your step. Don't get too much distance from yourself and from the present moment. I know there is something perhaps big that you are desiring in the future, that you are hopeful about, but it's possible that that's creating a little bit too much distance from. There is a lot of distance between that and where you are now, and there are steps that need to be taken towards that. You can't just blindly go ahead by that and just, be completely enamored by this beautiful star and this beautiful energy, And maybe that's kind of where you're sitting at right now with the Queen of Cups, you know, in such a beautiful, nurturing, wonderful place. And you're like loved up or something. There's nothing wrong with that, but you need to still have your head screwed on, basically, and just to balance all those kind of energies of the emotions and the head stuff, you know, the heart stuff, the head stuff, the intuition, and the universe. You know, ideally we would all be in a position of sort of juggling them all fairly nicely as much as we can, which can be tricky. So that's a possible obstacle for you guys this month, being a little bit too optimistic and a bit too starry-eyed. But what may be helpful for you guys this month, what came up kind of strangely was the Ten of Swords card. So look, Ten of Swords usually is a pretty diabolical card. You know, this is usually about being betrayed, about feeling completely stabbed in the back. This is a card about loss, defeat, crisis, feeling very hurt, feeling like you're at rock bottom, really sad about something, grief-stricken, you know, absolutely about the death of something, whether real or metaphorical, something that has ended painfully and that you may not have anticipated. So look, that's the traditional meaning of the card, but this, in your reading in this month, Sagittarius, this is in the position of what may be useful. So this is a 10 card. The 10 means the end of a cycle, which means something new is beginning. In the traditional image of this card, there is a sunrise coming up. So look ahead to that. A new beginning is awaiting you, and it's only a matter of time and the choices you make before stepping into that, before turning that page. You know, what lessons, you know, I think this card really is a reminder that we all go through stuff. What lessons can you take from whatever has happened? If something has failed or has not gone the way you hoped, I think what all successful people do, if we're going to use that term, is they review what went wrong, you know, calmly. You know, they sit down and go, okay, what can I take from that? How can I move on? How can I heal? What can I change? So it may be helpful to reflect on a lot of this stuff right now, to be in a more reflective state, to look at yourself and what has contributed to perhaps the current situation that hasn't gone so well. This is a card that reminds us not to be too over analytical, not to be too much in your head. Ten of Swords, stabbed in the back of someone, that's a lot of swords. That's, you know, I don't think it takes 10 swords to kill someone. It could probably only take one. So there's a lot of overkill. So are you over dramatizing things in your head? Are you over analyzing? Are you overthinking? This card can represent the end of that, 10 being the end of the cycle, as I mentioned. So maybe this is suggesting that you're at the end of the process of doing that and starting something new, a new way of looking at things. You know, a new dawn is coming up, and you just have to walk towards it. Learn what you can, you know. So I think this card is really suggesting you are moving away from perhaps some really destructive thinking that may be going on, or to certainly a big leap of, I'm going to say leap of faith, which is interesting next to the Star card, which also sort of is about faith as well as the other meanings that I went through. So as a helpful tool, I think the Ten of Swords is saying, you know, the only way, Ten of Swords, like if this was a card of rock bottom, the only way you can go is up. So you're at the end of something, choose to think really differently about something now and move forward, you know, move upwards, get up, walk on, reflect. I think reflect on how things have been, the way you've been thinking about something in particular. You know, everything that happens to us in life goes through our head, you know, so we have choices about how we interpret things and how we understand things. So choosing to be more flexible in one's beliefs and ideas and attitudes may be very, very useful right now to lead you to a good new place. And on that note of a good new place, the 5th card there being the outcome for January for Sagittarians, this is the 7 of Coins, otherwise known as the 7 of Pentacles. So this is a card about progress, you know, about growth, about perseverance, and vision, the fruits of one's labour. So there perhaps has been a bit of a learning curve going on, quite a lot of hard toil, particularly around work or issues to do with money. Maybe you've been worried about money, but also maybe you've been putting in the hard yards at work. Maybe there has been or there will be a promotion at work or some extra money coming in, and as a result of the hard work, you know, that has been witnessed and appreciated, and some new kind of growth is happening in that area now. But you do still need to keep working. One needs patience. This is a 7 card, so it's not 10, so there's still more work to be done, but there will be some really good, serious, tangible rewards at the end of it. This is a card about sort of having a little pause right now, resting in amongst the hard work that you've been doing, kind of viewing the progress that has been made, and there definitely has been some progress, but it's not the time to quit. Sure, pause, sure, rest a bit, sure, review and reflect a little bit on what you have managed to grow and the progress that you've made, but and to possibly think, do I need to keep going with this? Do I need to change tack a little bit? Do I need to add things or take things away or shift things a little bit? But don't stop, essentially. Just have a little pause, have a little rest, pat yourself on the back for the hard work. It's not the time to finish up, or it's not the time to sort of take a huge leap right now. It's the time to keep going, keep investing in your efforts, and there will be further reward, for the work that you've been doing. So perhaps just find a little bit of balance right now, looking at the progress, looking at, okay, where do I need to go, but not getting too delusional with that, you know, with the Star card there sort of warning you not to think too far ahead. And actually, you know, coins in this deck, they're coins, but in other decks it's pentacles, and pentacles look like they have little stars inside of them. And I'm looking at that Star card then, so I'm wondering if these two cards are kind of linked in some way, about not jumping ahead too much, changing something to do with your thinking, and that you are getting there with that 10 of Swords card there, saying there is a process going on in your mind that is going to help you continue on with the work that you're doing. Pentacles being about work, about tangible things, about finances, career, jobs, you know, businesses, possessions, those kinds of things. So you have gotten somewhere, but there's still a bit more work to do. But you need to change something about it, or you are changing the way you're looking at it, but you just need to stay in the present moment a little bit. Don't get a little bit too far ahead of yourself there, as the Star card would suggest. So maybe with the Queen of Cups card in the present, representing the present kind of energy and situations, you are kind of in this lovely place right now, kind of going, yeah, I'm just going to chill a little bit, I'm going to feel the love before I you know, kind of regenerate, kind of filling your emotional cup there, and then stepping back out and sort of just tweaking things a little bit, and then stepping back out there to continue the journey that you're on, like perhaps a a new process that has started already. You know, the World card suggesting something did end, but then of course something new began, or something that you've still been working on in some way. The Ten of Swords card does represent the end of something and the beginning of something new. So maybe you have a few things going on right now that are linked, but some part of the project or the work or the relationship, I'm not sure, has ended, but other things are still ongoing, and you need to keep going with those aspects. So now I'm going to shuffle and pull a card from the Dreamtime Reading Cards deck, and then I'm going to read from this little booklet. These cards are about connecting with the ancient spirit and nature of Australia. Dreamtime is the Aboriginal Australian spiritual kind of belief system. So there's a whole bunch of these really beautiful cards. Which I started shuffling. I'm going to shuffle here. They're really quite big cards, but they're very beautiful. So I just want to pull a card for Sagittarius for the month of January 2019, which represents the overall theme for the month for Sagittarians. Thank you, universe, giving us a card to represent the overall theme for the month. You guys have Firefly, which means searching. There's the image of the card, this is a dot painting, very typical of Aboriginal Australian art. So I'm going to lay that there, Firefly, which means searching in this deck. So I'm just going to find it right now and I'm going to read it out. So the firefly is a small beetle. When I was a young child, and this is the author talking, my family used to love watching them as they blinked around frantically at dusk. It was really magical watching the flashing lights come up from the gully, through the gum trees, and fly around in the long grass across the road in the spare paddock. The fire comes from a chemical process that happens on the underside of the firefly's abdomen. The male is the main flasher. It has large eyes and a visor to keep itself focused on its task of finding a mate. When a female blinks back, it has found its mate, and together they fly, blinking in unison in the moonlight. The firefly represents the aching need we all have to find a soulmate. The urgency you may feel when you are searching, sometimes frantically yet unsuccessfully, for someone to love. You want to find your other half, the one you believe will make you whole. But first you need to appreciate the beauty within yourself. You need to set your own soul on fire before you can hope to see that love reflected in another. It may feel as if you are looking for something that seems unobtainable, but there is a light in the darkness for you. You just need to keep going. Find your spark, shine your own light, and eventually you will find what you are looking for. To me, this very second last sentence I read out, you just need to keep going. I think that resonates quite strongly with the Seven of Coins card here about persevering. So look, maybe this whole reading is about relationship for you guys, Sagittarians. Whether that is an intimate relationship, a relationship with colleagues, with a friend, with a family member, or relationship with yourself. There has been a journey that you've been on. You're in quite a good place now with the emotions, but are you getting a little bit carried away with yourself? I think it's really easy when we're searching for love to be in such a wishful, hopeful state, especially if there is some little glimpses there. There's some little, whether this is love or whether this, I don't know, is a new job opportunity or something new that you're wanting to start in your life or have started, and we get all excited with it and we get carried away with the fairies kind of thing, and we lose track of where we are now, and sometimes we can get really disillusioned or hurt with that and just want to give up. But I think this reading is suggesting that we need to persevere, have a little break perhaps, but don't overanalyze, don't give up, don't get too carried away with the stars. Stay grounded, stay present, toil away, you know, and ultimately you will find, I think this is saying ultimately, particularly with the Seven of Swords card here, you will find what you're searching for. Just gotta just keep going. I know that can be really exhausting, so take care of yourself, you know, self-care kind of thing, but it really is a very true, if you don't take care of yourself, there's certainly no way you're going to take care of other people, and how are you going to attract something good into your life if you're struggling with taking care of yourself. Watch the thoughts, hey, with the Ten of Swords. So look, Sagittarius, that is your reading for January 2019. I hope it's been of use to you. If it's resonated and you want to comment on that, by all means do. If not, maybe check out some other awesome readers on YouTube, or check out your moon sign or your rising sign readings, or come back in February and see if anything works for you then. So I wish you all the best for January, and I'll see you in a few weeks.